So have you ever been in a situation where you have a criminal case and you have every intention of showing up to court, except on the court date, you get really sick and you miss your court hearing, and now you're stuck with a bench warrant? Or let's say some other emergency happens, something that you weren't expecting, or even something that you were expecting, and now you miss your court hearing and you're stuck and you don't know what to do because you have a bench warrant out for your arrest. What do you do? Well, I'm criminal defense attorney Hannah Akintoye, and I see situations like these arise all the time in criminal cases. Having a bench warrant is really not something to be worried about because they can easily be cleared up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my top 3 secrets for dealing with bench warrants in criminal cases. So here we go. Secret number 1. Just because the judge issues a bench warrant for your arrest, it doesn't mean that they actually want to throw you in jail. Now, I know that sounds really contradictory, but at the end of the day, when judges issue bench warrants in criminal cases, they do so simply because they have to follow the law, and that's pretty much it. A lot of judges are very understanding about issues and emergencies that arise, and if you're able to easily explain that to them, then they're easily able to also clear up the bench warrant. One thing to keep in mind is that if you have already been released from jail in a criminal case, meaning that you've been arrested on a charge and the police officer issues you a citation to show up in court, or you are originally arraigned on a criminal charge and now the case is pending and the judge says, okay, we're going to release you while your case is ongoing. In those situations, it's very hard from going from being released to being incarcerated unless you try really hard. A bench warrant isn't going to be the thing that actually makes you stay in jail permanently on a criminal case or stays in jail while the entire case is pending. You're going to usually need to do something much more serious than just not showing up to your court date. As I said, clearing up bench warrants is easy to do. If you're able to easily clear that up and have an explanation for why you missed court, most of the time judges are going to want to release you. So, secret number 2. If you have an attorney, it's always best to communicate with your attorney. The reason being is because if you can notify your attorney before your hearing that you're not going to be able to show up, at least you have an attorney that can make representations to the judge and explain to the judge what is happening in your situation, in your circumstances that led you to missing your court hearing. And the attorney can easily ask for a new court date. Let's say you actually miss your hearing and you're not even able to let your attorney know before your hearing happens and you were issued a bench warrant. That's okay because your attorney can still clear up the bench warrant even after it's issued. So on one hand, they can prevent the bench warrant from happening. And on the other hand, they can also clear up the bench warrant, meaning that they can have the judge vacate the bench warrant or quash the bench warrant as well. So communicating with your attorney is extremely important because this is the legal professional that has the ability to ensure that you remain out of jail on a situation or in a situation that doesn't really require you to be incarcerated. Because as I mentioned, if you're already out of jail, there's really no need for you to be thrown back in jail, especially if you haven't been convicted of anything or you haven't pled guilty to anything. All right, so secret number 3. If you have any proof or any documentation regarding what led you to missing court, it's always helpful to have that documentation at hand. So for instance, let's say you missed court because you got really sick. Well, if you have a doctor's note or you have any like ER records, medical records, then that's always going to be helpful to show the judge that what you're saying is actually true. Or let's say you had a child issue or a child custody issue or something happened at your child's school. If you have any proof of that, it's also going to be helpful if you have to explain to the judge why you missed your court hearing. But at the end of the day, let's say you don't have any proof or let's say you don't have any documentation. Just simply being honest about why you missed court can go a long way. I have had clients who just didn't show up to court because they were scared or they didn't show up to court because they didn't feel like it. I don't recommend that, but if something is happening, let's say you're just having a breakdown, judges are human beings too. Not everybody is going to be charged with a criminal case, but if you can truly be honest about the fact that you missed court and that you made a mistake and you're owning up to it, then most judges are going to be understanding of the fact that you are coming back into court, you are maybe turning yourself in, and you're showing that you're not a flight risk. And that's really all that matters. So if you have any questions about any of these 3 secrets that I mentioned, feel free to message me here or on my website, mydclaw.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I hope you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you all soon.